All right. I hope you guys are doing good. So first thing I'd like you guys to do is graph the 3 given lines. You can see I've used 3 different colors. This should not be anything new, but let's just review in case you forget how to graph lines. So this red line, remember the y-intercept's -5, so that's my first dot, and the slope's 1/3. Remember it's rise 1, run 3. And just keep doing that. Line B starts at +4, and it says same slope, rise 1, run 3. And do a few dots so you can make your lines kind of straight. And line C, notice, starts at +2, but it's a -3 slope. Remember, that means you go down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. So pause and get your 3 lines and then answer the first question. From your graph, which lines appear to be parallel and what do you notice about the slope? Do you guys see how the slopes are both 1/3? And it kind of makes sense they're parallel. If they're both rising and running at the same rate, they're going to be parallel. But something not maybe as noticeable is the perpendicular line. Remember, that means a 90-degree angle. So it seems that this yellow line is perpendicular, right? And let's notice something about their slope. We have a +1/3 slope and a -3 slope. They're completely opposite. They're actually called opposite reciprocals. +1/3 is opposite reciprocal of negative, and you know how you can make this 3 over 1? So remember, reciprocal is just taking a fraction and flipping it over, and one's positive and one's negative. So here's an example of an opposite reciprocal slope. This is a -5/3. This is a +3/5. They're completely opposite. Negative, positive, 5/3, 3/5. Go ahead and graph those 2 lines. And what we see here is they are perpendicular. This forms a 90-degree angle, and that only happens because the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So now that you know that, flip your page over and try to apply that on the back. First thing you're asked to do is graph this given line up here in the box. I graphed that in yellow. Then you are supposed to come up with a line parallel to that. And there's lots of possibilities. That's why this says varies. But think of, what do we have to have the same? Do we each have to have the -1/2 the same or the +1? Hopefully you guys are answering. We have to have the same slope in order for that to be parallel. So then you graph that line. I graphed mine red. And then we're supposed to give an equation line perpendicular. I know this is hard to read, but the opposite of -1/2 is +2 over 1. +2. And you can make this number here whatever you want and graph it and see how they look perpendicular 90-degree angles. All right, this is kind of tricky, so just kind of follow along. In order to determine if they're parallel or perpendicular or neither, so parallel are going to have the same slope, perpendicular opposite reciprocal, and neither just means they're not the same slope and they're not opposite reciprocals. So what we're going to need to do is get all of these into slope-intercept form. So I had to work with this. You need to write this down and try to understand this. And notice the slopes are the same, so it is parallel. This one is also parallel, so pause and write this down for me. And the last one, a +7 and a -7 are not opposite reciprocals. They're opposite, but they're not opposite reciprocals. So the answer is neither. It would need to be something like this for them to be perpendicular. All right, so hopefully you took time to take some nice notes and try to learn as you're doing those notes. And when you are finished, please start working on this assignment from your book. All right, have a great day. See ya.